Hi everybody, it's Mitch from Grandpa's Backyard. I'm going to show you today how to prepare the mash, the soil mix for your seeds. Specifically, we're going to do 20 heirloom tomato seeds. I'm actually doing these for my garden. It's early February, but I wanted to show you the process, how to do it. Okay, so the first thing, get yourself a little mixing area. Sometimes I use a big wheelbarrow, which I probably will later because I've got all my seeds for my entire garden going to be planted today, so they can start germinating. So they'll be ready to go by mid-April. The 15th to the 20th of April is a really good time to plant your garden here in the foothills because we're pretty much away from the frost, not always. And the evenings are, 45. They don't get lower than 45 degrees in mid-April, and that's really the time you want to plant. So anyway, so let me show you what we're going to do. We've got three major ingredients. We got peat moss, which is very sterile. There's not a bunch of bacteria in there. You don't want to use older existing soil. You want to use fresh, out of the bag peat moss. I've got my perlite, and perlite is basically volcanic. It's these little popcorn things here. You've seen it before. These are actually pieces of rock filled with air. And what happens is these allow for incredible drainage. Then we've got vermiculite, and vermiculite is from rock also. And what it does is it retains moisture. So it's kind of contradictory because you've got one thing to drain and one thing to retain the water. And then of course peat moss retains about 47 times its weight in water. That's why it's a really nice medium to grow everything in. All the plants you buy at the nurseries or buy at the big box stores or whatever, the basis is peat moss for the most part. It's not soil. Okay, so let me show you how to do this. We're just going to do it on a small scale. I'm going to do just one plant today, one tomato, and then we're going to track all 20 tomatoes that we're going to do today. We're going to track them over the course of the entire season, so you can see how they germinate. You can see how I put them in my little nursery with my lighting. You're going to be able to see everything, how they grow, how they produce, how I feed them, everything. So let's put some peat moss in here. And again, if you're doing it on a large scale, get a big wheelbarrow and dump that whole bag in. Even if you have excess, your garden will love it, okay? And then typically what I do is, so we've got some peat moss there. I don't follow any formula at all. I just dump some stuff in because that's how I work. And there we go. We'll mix this with water. And again, this is called mash. And you don't really have to worry about direct proportions. A lot of times I will let this sit. I will let this sit for an entire day because the peat moss will just keep absorbing the water. It's amazing. You'll look at this and go, wow. Where'd all that water go? Well, it gets all absorbed by the peat moss and the vermiculite specifically. Like I said, it's early February. It's cold. My hands are cold. But this is wonderful right here. Okay, so there we go. So there's the consistency of the mash that we want right there. And you can see if I squeeze it, you can see the water that comes out. You don't have to really worry about that. We'll just dump it in because on the bottom of these old, half-gallon pots, there's all kinds of drainage holes. So all your water will run out. I'm just kind of showing you right here what we do. So we got the mash in there. Get it all like that, kind of pack it in. And then we're ready for the seeds. Okay, so let me rinse my hands. Okay. And now I've picked out some black Krim heirloom tomatoes, which happen to be my favorite. And I've picked out about 5 or 6, as you can see. Okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them on the end of my finger and just punch them down, cover them with about 1/4 of an inch of soil, and I'm gonna plant them all. I'm gonna plant them all because they're not all gonna germinate. They may, but I want to ensure that they do. Okay? So that's it. So that's it. And then what I'll do is I also have little stakes and bamboo stakes, and I don't have them here for this demonstration, but I'll write black Krim on there and I'll put it in, and sometimes I'll put the date, and then I'll take them and I'll just cover them with a black plastic, in a warm area for about 4 to 5 days. Some days sooner, some days a little later, and then the next picture that we show you, all the little babies will be popping up, and we'll go from there. Okay? But I want to take you along on the entire journey, all the way through the end of the season, so that you can see what that little seed, how many tomatoes that little seed will produce if you plant it and do it the right way from the beginning. And if you do it in early February, that gives them 10 weeks to mature before you put them in the ground. They should be about 1 foot to 16 inches high, each of them, and they'll be stout and strong, and we'll show you again how to do that, how to prep them. Okay, so there we go. That's it. Thank you.